Sort of say, hey guys, it's Claus. Welcome back to another video. I just came back from a great trip, guys. I attended the Aquino Tank Weekend in Oshawa, Ontario, put on by the Ontario Regiment Museum. I have some amazing footage that I'm going to share with you in this video today. Yes, I did get to ride in a Leopard. There was a battle reenactment that I'm going to show you. There was a battle royale 1 versus 1, an M60 versus a Leopard, and not a staged show. I'm talking about a 1 versus 1 in which two lucky winners, World of Tanks players, like a lot of you that are watching this video, that were selected by Wargaming, got to command the tanks and go at it 1 versus 1. And that's one thing that these guys do right here at the Ontario Regiment Museum. They don't just display the tanks behind barriers. They actually let the public touch these things, get in them, climb on them, and some lucky people get to ride them. So we're going to see some of that. I talked to so many great people there, the professionals that work at the museum, and some veterans who shared some amazing stories. I could make a 2 or 3 hour video out of this, but I've selected kind of the highlights and I'm going to share them with you. I have to give a big shout out and thank you to Wargaming North America, who invited me to attend the event, and they paid for my ticket, and I met all those guys for the first time at this event. We had a load of fun. I had a lot of laughs. Let me share some of the highlights with you guys. This is me meeting the Wargaming staff for the first time. I found this. I'm just returning it. This is the Duck Man.
Yes.
You might recognize him from the WOT Weekly videos.
Probably not.
That come out weekly. That's why it's called WOT Weekly.
You have a bigger show. I have a duck for you, though.
You want to go?
He's in the middle of an interview.
Wait a minute.
I've got the Duck Man gave me a duck.
I'm supposed to.
Do you have to go?
Drive a tank. With Sarah.
Are you going to drive the tank?
You're
going to be on the tank?
I'm going to drive the tank.
I want to drive. No, I don't want to drive. I want to be taken for a ride on a Leopard.
I'm going to be in a tank. We're on a tank. I'm going to be on a tank today.
Would you like to be on the tank together?
Yes.
Oh.
Are you giving cues? You're supposed to be just working the camera.
There you go. That's for you. That's for you.
This is what, you can't hire good help these days when the camera person is like worried about getting the free duck.
Oh, she's been recording this.
She's been recording this.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Let's get on there. I gotta tell you, riding on the Leopard was surprisingly smooth. The suspension on this thing was ridiculous. But I didn't just get to ride the Leopard. When that was over, someone decided that it would be a good idea that I be the commander of the M4 Sherman during the battle reenactment.
Now here comes a favorite and one of the most famous and popular tanks here at the Ontario Regiment Museum, our M4 Sherman Bart. Bart's known around the world. It's been in many movies and television productions. The tank was named by the British for the American Civil War general William Tecumseh Sherman. The Sherman tank was bristling with weaponry. The turret not only carried the main armament, but a coaxial 30 caliber machine gun. The hull housed another second 30 cal, and it could be mounted on top with an external 50 caliber machine gun. Now this is very, very loud.
And this is when the guy on the 50 cal says to me, Klaus, you better get in the hatch right now.
50 cal, crewman.
Wasn't that it was loud, although it was really loud. It's like there's a concussion. It's like you're getting punched in the stomach each shot. And of course the hot shell casings landing on your head kind of add to the effect.
Saw before. Let's hear from Bart, if Bart can bark.
And believe it or not, the 50 cal was more startling and more loud than the main gun on this thing. At least so it felt like that to me. What they did is they introduced each tank and they talked about it a little bit, and then we did a battle reenactment. We reenacted the Battle of Monte Cassino, and I was the commander on this Sherman tank. I had the headset on with the radio, and Central Command gave us instructions, and I relayed it to the crew, and I'll give you a little feel for how that went.
Now comes the real trouble. There's that Memorial Reserve, the Panzer III, heading out to the field. Oh, and behind them there's a half track, probably full of German reinforcements. Looks like just in time, but maybe too late. The armored support is
The battle reenactments were a lot of fun, and they were great for the audience that was watching. I also met some very knowledgeable veterans who, just listen to this story.
Scorpion.
Okay.
That's with a 76mm.
Yeah.
And that operated in the Gulf as the close reconnaissance for the battle groups.
Okay.
And then basically the rest of the vehicles really are represented examples that we were the brigade reconnaissance.
All
so
right.
we were right up the sharp end.
All right, come on, George is going to show us the command post. Come on in.
Sultan.
All right.
Welcome to my world. This is the Sultan command vehicle.
Yeah.
And as I said, within our squadron we'd have 3 of these.
Yeah.
So you could execute what was called a step up. So one would go forward, set up, put the masts up, and then control all the troops as they were in action. And as they moved forward, another one would come up behind you, stop, they'd set up, we'd collapse our masts so that we could move forward. So that was called the step up. And we also had
You didn't
another
call
one.
it a leapfrog?
Well, you could do either, leapfrog or caterpillar.
Okay.
And then basically you'd have another command vehicle, which was the intelligence CV that they get all the int from Brigade HQ. So crew of 5 in the Gulf, driver up the front.
In there?
Yeah, in that little compartment there, right next door to the Jaguar 4.2 litre engine. So you can imagine it used to get bloody hot in there.
And this?
In this bit there, I had a 6'5" radio operator. That we
6'5" radio operator in there.
He sat in there, and basically he was responsible for taking down the logs.
Couldn't you get a shorter guy?
Well, he's the only one we could get. I sat on the seat. I sat on the seat next to you. I was the commander, so I'd either stand up.
Oh, and you could.
I'd stand up top and basically map read and operate the machine gun, and then you'd have 2 officers in here who'd be commanding the commanding the action.
So you could come up here.
Yeah, so push the hatch, and then basically you've got a constantly rotating turret there with a 7.62 machine gun. And I reckon I'm the only person in the British Army that's fired a 7.62 machine gun from a Pintle on a Sultan in anger. But anyway, that's by the by.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
When we got bumped by that tank, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, as I said, this was the sort of command and control vehicle.
So you guys were right at the front.
Yeah, right at the front. We were ahead of the battle groups. We were operating deep. Weren't as deep as the SAS, but 15, 20 clicks in front of the main battle groups as they was coming on.
And this is in the Iraq War.
Yep. So all these are some of the schematics and sort of map traces that we used in the Gulf.
Okay.
What you could do, clearly, shut the door, shut the hatches, and basically you've got a new NBC system, because the first Gulf War there was a bit of an NBC gas threat. We didn't know whether Saddam was going to use gas or not, and then basically you can overpressure the vehicle, so if he does, gas doesn't get in. But failing
So what
that,
do you do?
clearly,
What do you do when if you're up there up front and you get detected?
What do we do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the art of reconnaissance. Seeing without being seen, hearing without being heard, is as they say. So it's the art of the poacher. So you tried not to get
Obviously.
seen.
Yeah.
Now, because we'd only got sort of things like 30mm cannon and the anti-tank guided missiles, we were the ones that brought down the artillery, depth artillery fire,
I think
A-10.
we're under attack here.
Say again?
We're under attack here.
Yeah, we're definitely under attack. But basically, we control all the depth fire coming in. So the desert rats. So if you can imagine, this is a bit of a schematic here. So you've got Kuwait here, Iraq would be going up here, and all this is Saudi Arabia. So we landed at a place called Al Jubail, at Saudi Arabian port, and then went off into the desert, did a shed load of training with the US Marines. And because the Brits had a division, it was estimated that wherever the Brits were was going to be the main effort for the attack. So we did a lot of training with the US Marines, so consequently Saddam had most of his defences along the southern Kuwaiti border.
Right.
And then at Christmas, basically, we did a big route marching drive all the way across to a place called Wadi Al Batin, and met up with
100 kilometers.
Yeah, with the big red one.
60 miles.
The US first division, the big red one, and then basically went into Iraq and then did a right hook into Kuwait. Crew of 5, so you had to get to know each other pretty well.
Oh, that's amazing.
Most important bit of kit on the vehicle?
The BV.
Right, if you turn round by the light, left of the light there is a little square box. That is the most important piece of equipment on this vehicle.
And it is?
It's the kettle.
This is where you make your
It's the
tea?
boiling vessel.
This
So
is-
basically, that's where you could brew your tea, put your boil in
Now,
the
what
bags.
kind of tea do you guys, the Brits? Is it like Red Rose or
we call
Earl
it-
Grey or what?
No,
What
it's
a pity.
Builder's Bottom, we call it.
Builder's Bottom.
Yeah,
Which is just
it's normal Indian tea.
Indian tea.
Yeah. But yeah,
You gotta have your cup of tea
you
before
gotta
you
have
go.
your cup of tea.
And just above it the machine gun to
Yeah,
protect the tea.
absolutely.
Well, that's great. We gotta thank you for all the information.
That's all right.
Introduce yourself on the camera here, so we.
Hi, I'm George Clegg, A Squadron, 1st of Queen's Dragoon Guards.
Yeah, so we met some interesting people here, like you might recognize this guy, the chieftain.
Hello, lads. Yeah, they found me standing on top of a tank. It was an M60, not a chieftain, but the chieftain hasn't arrived yet, so.
I've got to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
The hat.
Yes.
The chieftain always wears the hat.
Not always. I was wearing a different hat this morning, and people didn't recognize me.
Is that because of is there any receding going on, or is it just a
lot of grey. But no, as you can see, I've got a reasonable head of hair still.
full head.
But the irony is, most of my videos I don't wear it. But it's become associated anyway. So
There you go.
there you go.
We all have our stories. Like for me, it's the homeless guy that looks like he slept under the bridge. And everyone can find me easily.
Is it a good bridge?
It's
a good bridge.
Good to meet you, buddy.
All right, well, we'll catch you a little later on.
Chieftain.
Now you look good doing it. So that's okay, so the M4 has the reputation of being a death trap. If you see my videos, you've seen I've done the statistics. It's not. It's actually one of the safest tanks out there. The only thing safer was the Churchill 3. And hopefully, this should demonstrate why. Okay, stand by. Oh bugger, the tank is on fire. Go.
The tank is on fire. Klaus Kellerman survives. Get out!
Come on. Well, we don't need a loader.
It seemed easier than it was to get out.
25-11. Everybody bar him was on the ground in less than 20 seconds.
I've got a tank fan here. She has her favorite tank. Let's ask her. What is your favorite tank?
I like the light brown one over there.
The light brown one? The one with the really long gun?
Yeah,
That one there?
that was my favorite.
Yeah? Do you play World of Tanks?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
You're not a gaming person?
Not really, no.
But you have a favorite tank?
Yes, I do. I just like the camo pattern on it.
See? They like the camo pattern. The camo pattern is important. It's
Yeah.
the accessories.
Very.
It's all about the accessories. See? I know this stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah.
BMP is kind of a neat system. Distance between the bottom of the hull and the track here is fairly narrow.
Yeah.
At the back end, there's a lot more gap between the top of the track and the skirts. So as the tracks are spinning in the water, it draws water up, carries it up to the front.
Yeah.
It's getting compressed. So the water rolls around the top, comes out the back again. You can see the louvers in the back here.
Yeah.
So that helps push the water out the back to give it some more forward propulsion.
So it swims.
Yeah, most of the propulsion is from the tracks, but this is something the Russians have developed and added on to that actually does. They figure that adds about 2 kilometers to the speed in the water.
And how many infantry fit in there?
Well, it was designed to carry 8. The
Yeah.
front 2 guys man PKM machine guns. The next 3 down each side were AK-47 assault rifles. But they found practically 8 was too crowded, so they cut the infantry squads and these back to 6 men from 8.
Holy smokes. Amphibious assault vehicle.
Well, technically it's called an armored infantry fighting vehicle, but they were completely amphibious.
Excellent.
So when these things are in the water, there's not much freeboard. The water comes up to about here in the water.
Huh. Great.
And then the snorkel, the screen up here, that's the snorkel. So when the driver activates the switch, the trim vane in the front flips up, the snorkel at the back pops up about 2.5 feet. And then when they do run in, quite often the water does flow over top, so it just gives them,
Yeah.
so you're not sucking water in.
Excellent. Thanks for the information.
Oh, you're welcome.
What's your?
Perry.
Perry.
Yeah.
Great, Perry. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right. I got to introduce you to the cabbage mechanic.
How's it going?
There he is.
We made it.
We put the face behind the tank name, and you are the
Senior community manager. That's me.
And you're like, I'm a deputy, and you're a sheriff, or how does it work?
Yeah, that's right. I'm your boss.
He's my boss, so I have to be nice to him, or he can boot me. All you got to do is press one button and I'm deleted, right?
No, I'd get in trouble. I guess I could delete your sheriff account, yeah. I could do
You
that.
could just press one button.
But I don't have to, because you don't cause any problems.
Because I'm not an asshole.
If there's one thing that we know about Klaus Kellerman, it's that he's a nice guy that doesn't offend anyone and doesn't say anything mean or rude ever. That's right, yeah. Everyone knows that. You all know that.
Sure, exactly.
He's a great guy.
See, this is
Pillar of the community.
This is one wargaming employee that knows what he's talking about.
Definitely.
I'll tell you that.
Okay, in this segment, guys, believe it or not, they chose 2 lucky winners, World of Tanks players, to command one of these 2 tanks, the Leopard and the M60. And they went at it one-on-one using manual controls and giving instructions to the crew to move the turrets and try and shoot each other. And just watch.
But it does also mean you may not be able to hit your target. Looks like the Leopard has a great firing position on the rear, right into the engine of the M60. Oh, but the M60 did get a hit in the retreat.
You got a fast loader on that Leopard.
I was in the audience watching this. I was so nervous. Tragic Loss and I, we were just riveted, cheering for that Leopard. Leopard, please win. We were just at the edge of our seats. We just couldn't handle it. Can the Leopard emerge victorious?
M60 now on the move. Oh, he's grabbed. I think he's going for your photographer. Leopard once again seems to try to use his speed. Something else that is disconcerting is if you're looking through a gun sight and you see a gun tube aiming at you, even if you know it's not a real gun, it's very unnerving. Yeah, the first year we did this, this was one of the participants said that was one of the most eerie things of their life. To be looking down the tube and they saw the other turret and the gun pointed right at them.
The audience really liked watching this kind of stuff, and I just got to give a shout out to the Ontario Regiment Museum. You guys do a lot of fun stuff that you don't normally see in regular tank shows. You get down and dirty with your tanks. You're not afraid to get them dusty or muddy. And we all had a great time. Now, who won, the Leopard or the M60?
In World of Tanks Battle Royale, by applause, hooting, waving, and shouting, who believes the M60 won the tank battle? By applause and hooting and shouting and waving your hands, who believes the Leopard 1 has won the tank battle? The crowd has spoken. The crowd has spoken. All right, congratulations, Leopard team.
I hope you guys enjoyed that, and trust me, just watching the video is almost, it doesn't do it justice. Being there was amazing. Even just feeling the vibrations as these tanks drove by. I'm going to leave a link in the video description for the Ontario Regiment Museum. Go check out their website. I'll leave a link for their Facebook page as well. They've probably got some pictures in there. Shout out to you guys. You put on an absolutely incredible show. I loved it. And one more time, thank you so much to Wargaming North America. I really appreciate you guys inviting me to attend and letting me participate in some of the events. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. And I hope you guys all enjoyed watching the video. I'll catch you on the next one.
Mounted to a more powerful gun.